Hey everybody, this is Antonio. In this video, I'm going to be giving you a brief introduction to MondayLink. MondayLink is an add-on for Excel that lets you sync between Excel tables and Monday.com boards. In effect, it lets you use all of Excel's features to work with data inside Monday.com. So let's see how we can use it, shall we? So this is a board I created from Monday.com template. Each row in this board represents a project proposal. Project proposals have a name, a summary, a status, so they can be new requests, under consideration, approved, or rejected. Let's see if we can edit this board inside Excel, make some changes, and then save those changes back to Monday.com. Let's start by switching to Excel. I'm going to pick a cell where I want the table to land. I'm going to go to MondayLink and click Pull Table. I'm going to select the board which I'm interested in, so that's Project Request and Approvals. The local table name is suggested for me. I'm okay with this suggestion, so I'm going to click OK. After a couple of seconds, the data is inside Excel and marked as a table. I'm just going to turn off word wrap for this so that the table is a bit more manageable. And OK, here we go. OK, so let's start by taking a look at the first three columns. The first three columns are really important to MondayLink. The first one is the ID. So each item in Monday.com has an ID. So if you take a look at this project golf, so we switch into Monday.com and click project golf, we can see in the URL that the ID of the pulse ends in 646, and over here we can see that project golf ends in 646. So this is the identifier of the row inside Monday.com. The second column is underscore name. So this column contains row headers. So that corresponds to this column over here. The third column, underscore group, tells us which group each row belongs to. So if we switch back to Monday.com, we can see that every row belongs to a particular group. So Project Golf and Project Zulu belong to new requests, while Project Juliet belongs to under consideration. So if we switch back to Excel, we can see that Golf and Zulu are new requests, Juliet is under consideration. All of the other columns over here, they're user-defined columns. So if I go back to Monday.com, I can see that I have initiator, request status, request date, executive summary, and so on. And I have the same columns over here in Excel: initiator, request status, request date, and so on. Now let's see if we can make some changes inside Excel and then save those changes back into Monday.com. So for one thing, all of these projects, they have a name, but we have a prefix, project space golf, project space Zulu, but all of these are projects, so we might as well call them golf, Zulu, Juliet, whiskey, and so on. So let's use Excel's find and replace feature for this. This is something that's not available inside Monday.com, so this is an example of something you can do just by adding Excel on top of Monday.com data. So I'm going to select all of the values in this column. I'm going to press Ctrl H, and I'm going to want to replace project space with nothing. So if I do that, okay, I've replaced 7 values and I'm happy with those. So now I want to save those changes back into Monday.com. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to click MondayLink, I'm going to click Save. I'm going to make sure this table is selected. I only have one table that's linked to a board inside Excel. If I had multiple, I could sync multiple tables at once from this dialog. Going to click OK and confirm that I do indeed wish to replace the values in Monday.com with the values I have over here in Excel. If I switch back over here, I can see that all of the project names have been changed, so to remove the project space prefix. Now let's see if we can make a change on the Monday.com side and see if we can push that change into Excel. So I'm going to rename this project Golf, and I'm going to add something. I'm going to add hello from Monday.com over here. Press enter. Then I'm going to go back into Excel and refresh this board. I do want to confirm that I'm interested in refreshing this board. So after that's complete, I can see the change that I made in Monday.com inside Excel. Okay, that's fairly simple. So that's editing existing items. How do we delete a row? That's fairly easy. I'm going to select the row inside Excel, press Ctrl- to get rid of it from the table, and then press Ctrl-Shift-S to save the table back into Monday.com. If I go over to my browser, I can see the project Golf disappeared from the list over here. Let's go back into Excel and let's also see if we can change a group, change the group that an item belongs to. So over here we can see that Project Whiskey is approved. Let's see if we can change it to rejected. So Project Whiskey, group is approved. Let's switch that to rejected and let's save this board and let's switch back over here and see what happens. Okay, so Project Whiskey just jumped from the approved group into the rejected group. And we can do that in bulk. So we could, for example, take all of the rows and just move them to new requests. I'm not going to do that, but this is just an example of using Excel's dragging capabilities to bulk edit text. Okay, now let's see how we can add an item. So adding an item is slightly more tricky because you have to know a couple of things. First thing you need to know is that you're not supposed to put anything in the ID field for new items. The ID field is assigned by Monday, and we're not allowed to assign an ID field for new items. The name of the item is mandatory. That's the only mandatory field that you have to populate if you want to add a new item. So let's put test over here. And let's just press Ctrl-Shift-S. And we can see that we have indeed added a new item. The item has gotten an ID assigned by Monday.com, and it's been assigned to new requests. New request is the first group in the board, so if we don't specify a board, it's going to place the item in the first group. One thing to notice over here is that this board has automations. So when you add a new item, automations assign values to certain fields. So if I refresh this board right now, we can see some changes over here. So we can see the initiator, the request status, and the request date. The reason this didn't show up right away is because it takes a second or two for the automations to kick in. So we made the change, and then that fired off the automations. But before the automations completed, our change was completed. So we never really detected what the automations did. So it's a good idea to keep that in mind if you have automations on your boards. So this has been a demonstration of starting with the Monday.com board and then pulling it into Excel. But what if we have our data in Excel and we want to publish it to Monday.com to make it available to other people in our team? So here's an example of that. Over here I have a table that describes a home renovation project. So we have to-do items for a home renovation project. Each item has a name, it has an estimated duration in days, and it has an estimated share of the total cost of the renovation. Let's see if we can publish this table to Monday.com and then keep it synchronized between the Excel table and the Monday.com board. So the way to do that is to go over to MondayLink, select the table and click Push Table. So right off the bat, I get an error. And the reason I get an error is because each item that is going to end up in Monday.com, it has to have a name. So basically what I need to do is add an underscore name column or use one of the existing columns for the name. So I can handle that in two different ways. I can either define a name column over here and use a formula, let's say to read the data from here or combine data from different columns into a single ID, or let me just undo this. I can just pick one of the columns and change its name to underscore name. So which is what I'm going to do over here. Once I do that, I can see if I can push the table. The ID and the group columns are immediately created for me. And now I'm prompted here to enter the name of the board and the workspace I want to put it in, what kind of board it is, and I can configure the column types over here. So I'm going to push it into the default workspace as a public board. I'm going to call it home renovation. And I'm going to click OK. And after a couple of seconds, we have our board and all of our items now have received their Monday.com IDs and the default group name. I can click the Go to Source button to see the board inside the Monday.com. So I can see home renovation over here. I don't see it in the list because I'm not watching the main workspace, but I can see it over here. So home renovation. I can change the group name. So I can call this to-do items. And now if I refresh this table, click OK and confirm, I can see the group has updated over here. So that covers a couple of areas. So we've taken an existing board, pulled it into Excel, then made changes on both sides and kept them in sync. And we've also started with an Excel table and pushed that into Monday.com and kept that in sync. One thing that's important to notice here is that the link between the Excel table and the Monday.com board is stored inside the workbook. So if I now save this workbook and give it to somebody else who has MondayLink, they'll be able to save and refresh these tables as well. We can see the links between tables and boards if we click Manage Connections over here. So we have table 1 is connected to the home renovation board over here. There's currently nothing else to configure over here. In the future, we might add stuff like column mappings and changing data types and whatnot, but for a start, it's just a one-to-one mapping between a table and the board. And we can unbind a table and the board by clicking Unbind. If we had multiple tables over here, we could assign a board for each table over here. One thing that's important to note is that if we add columns on either side and we want to map them, the columns have to be, if they need to be mapped, the columns have to have identical headers. So if we, for example, add a column ABC over here and put 1, 2, 3, in order to have this mapped and synchronized between Monday.com and Excel, I would need to add an ABC column on the Monday.com side as well. If there is no ABC column on the Monday.com side, then that column is just going to get ignored during synchronization, but the synchronization between other columns is going to function normally. To round off this overview, I'm just going to go over some of the elements of the user interface and the different ways that we can kick off, save, and refresh operations. The easiest way is to go to the MondayLink ribbon. We can see here we have manage connections, save, refresh, go to source, and these are context dependent. So if I move outside of this table, I now get a command for pulling in a table. If I have a new table over here that isn't mapped, I'm going to have a push table button over here. And the save and refresh buttons are going to be visible always because we might have more than one map table. So regardless of where we are in the workbook, we'll be able to click save or refresh and then refresh or save multiple tables at once. Map tables also have additional context menu items. So if I right click on this, I have a MondayLink menu item over here where I have save and refresh. I won't have this menu item for tables that aren't mapped to a Monday.com board. Another thing that's worth mentioning is shortcuts. So if I'm on a table, I can press Control-Shift-S to save just that particular table to Monday.com, or let's click no for that. Or if I click Control-Shift-R, I can refresh the table from Monday.com into Excel. I can also configure these shortcuts if I go into the Queries Term tab, Configure, go over to MondayLink, and over here I can configure the refresh and save data shortcuts. While I'm on the topic of configuration, you can see the API key over here. You get prompted for the API key as soon as you try to use MondayLink, but if you want to change it later, you can change it over here. There's other configuration settings over here. This one, enable HTTP logging, that's about debugging, and I'm going to go over debugging in a different video. Upload batch size is also a performance optimization, so we'll skip that for now. Alright, so that's it for this introduction video. In the next video, I'm going to go over some of the more advanced topics, and in subsequent videos after that, I'm going to give you some ideas of what kind of features you might want to use from Excel to work with Monday.com boards. So for example, this is going to be Power Query for loading data into Monday.com. It's going to be various Excel features that you might want to use to process your Monday.com data, such as pivot tables, Power Pivot, advanced formulas, and find and replace, flash fill, AI functions, and so on. But that's it for this video. All of the other stuff is going to be in following videos, so make sure to, if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe to this channel so you can keep up with the following videos that I'm going to be making on this topic. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.